Okay, so I am halfway through washing my truck. It is still wet. Um, the soap that I'm using is the F21. Old, basically bought it when I was a teenager, which is probably about 20 years ago. Now I have the remaining balance of it left, and this side has not been washed. You can still see there's a little bit of dirt down in the bottom. There, I am not a professional detailer by any means, so all critics, this is just a general homeowner doing his own thing, trying out the last coat, trying to help somebody from buying it and not doing what is supposed to be done, or being really pleased with it. Um, to be determined. I have not used it yet. Again, this is just freshly washed. I did the best I could to get all the spots off. I have not dried it yet, but I will rinse it one more time before I dry it. I'm a firm believer in when you start to wash, to keep it wet while you are still washing. So I have one more side to do, and then I will go around and dry it, and I will show you guys what it looks like after it's done. Okay, I am all done washing. It's got a final rinse on it. I have not started to dry it yet. I have not washed the wheels. Everything as far as quarter panels, the tailgate, the doors, everything like that is already washed. Mirrors, windows. One thing that I had decided to show you guys before I put the last coat on is there's a lot of videos about watershed. As I noticed when I was rinsing this off, all you see is sheets, right? It just continues to run off. Same thing with the hood. It's a sheet. It's not really beading. I don't know if you guys can notice that, but there's no sign of beading at all. It's just running right off. I figured since there were some other videos out there that show you professional detailers on how they do this, not me. I am just a regular old homeowner washing my truck at home. So this is the way it comes out. All right. I'm gonna go dry it now, and then I'll show you guys the next step after it's dry. Okay, one thing that I would say for right now, I did wash the truck. I dried it all off with an absorber, chamois. I am still seeing some drips, so that I'll have to walk around and make sure that I dry that off a little bit more right before I apply the last coat. Reason being is they do emphasize how dry it needs to be when you apply it to the vehicle. The other thing that I've never done before that was suggested by a professional detailer was to use rubbing alcohol. I've never done that. I'm a little reluctant to do that, only because I don't know what it will do, but he says that it will take off any residual oils or soap that is left behind. So I'm going to use his advice and spray that on each panel as I go around. He says it doesn't do any damage. It will just do a little bit of cleaning, and it'll evaporate before it eats through any kind of protective layer on the paint. So I'm going to go grab that and start that process. Alright, I just figured I'd show you what I was doing here. Little isopropyl alcohol, and I've been mixing it up between spraying on the vehicle or spraying on the rag, depending on where I'm going. In order to get around the mirrors, I have been spraying on the rag. But essentially, 1, 2, 3, wiping it down, and it is actually removing some debris on the exterior surface. I don't know what's left behind. I don't know if it's a film that I have left over from the actual soap, but if you can see that, that was a clean rag. Yeah, I'm going to continue to wipe it all down, and then I'll show you guys what's happening after I apply the last coat. So the only reason why I bought this stuff was my brother-in-law on vacation started talking so much about how he thought this stuff was the best thing since sliced bread, and he's been losing some weight lately, so I think I can throw him a little bit further. I don't know if I quite trust him yet, but I figured I'd give it a shot. The package that I bought, it was actually running a deal. I got 3 bottles for $89, I believe, or $80, something like that. They threw in 2 terry cloths, black and a blue. I'm going to use the blue to apply. They say 3 squirts and rub it on and then wipe it off. The 3 squirts that I saw the guy do online on a YouTube video was for a smaller panel, so I'm going to actually do 6 squirts for the top of the hood, and that's the only reason why. Just because I think it's a bigger body panel. 3 would probably fit for half of it, and that's my reasoning behind that. Take it or leave it, but that was not much of a squirt. That wasn't either. Apparently I'm not getting a lot of, so I don't know if you can see this, but that's not very wet at all. That was 6-7 squirts, and that's not very wet. I'm not happy with that. This is probably the first time well, it is the first time I've used it, so it's not getting this rag very wet. Hopefully you can see the stream coming out, but maybe that is a broken nozzle. Little technical difficulties here, but we'll get this resolved, and then I'll start that over again. Alright, so I did swap over the nozzles because I did buy the 3 bottles. It came with 3 different nozzle heads. I swapped this one for the other one. It just didn't seem to be working. So this is the one that I just sprayed. I did use that on the front driver's side quarter panel, but just for this video I'm going to flip over to a brand new section, and I'm going to do it 6 coats. This is spraying a lot better. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to go wipe that on and then dry it off. It's getting a little bit harder to wipe on. I suspect that's because it's starting to dry. I'm thinking that if I was going to do this again, I would do 3 squirts, move it over, and then do another 3 on the opposite side. As I said, you learn from my mistakes. Hopefully this will benefit somebody. I'll continue to do the rest of the truck. So right out of the gate, I would say with the 6 squirts and then trying to do the entire hood, that's not enough. As I went around the rest of the truck, I realized that it's better to squirt your terry cloth and do a section and then squirt again. You can almost feel a little bit of dragging. As you start to apply it, it's nice and smooth. And maybe it's because it's the first time I've used this, maybe it's because it's the first time, you know, I've treated the truck, but as you start to work your way down the panels, you can almost tell when there's nothing left being applied to the vehicle. So I'm gonna, just because I'm lazy, I don't feel like doing this all over again, I'm not even gonna spray that right now. I am going to retreat it again with a few squirts on the rag, and then I'm going to treat a certain area, and then I'll spray it again. I will do that to the hood only, because the rest of the truck, that's how I treated it. Basically what I'm doing, 6 squirts, and then I will wipe it on an area, work my way across it until I feel it start to drag. Again, all that feels pretty good. Already treated this though, so I wouldn't go much further than that. I'm starting to feel a drag on it now, and now I need to wipe it down, make sure that it stays nice and damp. And if anybody's ever waxed a car, you get that white film. That white film seems to develop over time. You think you get it. Nothing's more frustrating than when you first wax your car, you end up finishing it all up, and then next thing you know, you're at Home Depot and you see a white streak, you know, on your trim. This stuff doesn't seem to have any white residue at all, which is definitely a benefit. If you have anything left over, again, I don't know if it develops over time, but so far I haven't seen any residue. It's almost like an oil, and then when you wipe it off, there's not really a General Lee type, you know, skim across the hood type thing, but you can feel it kind of more like a clean glass. So anyway, I'm gonna finish the hood and then I'll show you guys what's up. So I went around the entire truck, and that's how much I used out of the entire bottle. Yep, my daughter decides to photobomb and make a complete fool of herself. But this is the results. Around now. I would say, based on looks alone, there is a little bit of a shine. You know, the video that I was referring to, the last coat rep, was actually doing a what appeared to be a Hummer. So he did spray 3 times, then spray the rag again 3 times. You know, he seemed to keep doing that. And when I was doing the rims, I did notice that if I had too much, it would almost smear. It wasn't so much of a fog like you would see if you wax something and then it was turning white. It was more or less a haze, just like you didn't get a film off. So you just kind of dry that off with one of the dry cloths again, and I guess that is the true second portion that you're supposed to be removing. So now, just for movie's sake, I guess we're gonna try wetting it down again and seeing what happens. So, significant beating. I don't know. I mean, it's not quite like the video that I watched, but again, this was kind of me just doing it in the afternoon. Joe Schmo at his house, you know. I would say, considering what I've seen with wax and considering what I've seen with the results of this before I went and put this on, I mean, there's definitely a significant improvement, but I still think wax is probably best. What I'm gonna do now is just spray the rim, just kind of give you a little bit of a idea on what that looks like. Again, more beating. I mean, it's definitely shedding water, but I would say it's really not comparable to a wax, but it's definitely a lot easier than a wax. All right, well, hey, thanks for watching, and I guess if you guys have any advice, put it in the comments below.